So I applied for the Italian student visa, handed in every requirement, all the documentation, and then after 2 months, visa was denied. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about my Italian visa story. Shout out to one of my subscribers that actually asked about the story, and she asked if I could share the story on my channel. So here it is. Thank you so much for asking, because she's going through a lot of challenges, and I thought if I shared my story, it would somehow inspire you to keep going and to know that it is not always easy. It wasn't easy for me. For some people it is easy, or it might have been easy, but for most of us it has not been easy. But were we able to make it? Absolutely. I'm also going to tell you how I got my visa from being denied to being approved. So stay tuned. Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome to another video about living in Italy. My name is Hilda Gloria. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time, consider subscribing by hitting the red subscribe button down below. That way you are notified every time I post a new video. So when I applied for the visa, that was about eight and a half years ago, in 2013, after doing all the pre-enrollment and handing in every requirement, getting the declaration of value, having my documents certified, and the whole process and every requirement that is needed to get a student visa. I made sure that I had the financial means, because it's ridiculous, but they asked for 7,000 euros on my account. I made sure that I had that. I handed in every single detail, proof of accommodation. I looked for accommodation and paid for the whole year, and then handed in everything at the Italian consulate. By the way, I lined up for 2 hours. Taking you a little bit back to my story is that I did my bachelor's degree in Cairo, so I had to apply for a student visa to Italy through the embassy in Cairo, or through the consulate in Cairo. Why I had to do that is because it would be easier for me to do all the translation and the declaration of value and all the details that were required in Cairo, just because I had studied there. This is what I thought, and this was easier for me, as opposed to going to Uganda and then having to go back to Egypt to get all these required documents. I did that in 2013, which was only 2 years after the Egyptian revolution, and the country was still unstable. So because of the instability, there were lots of people that were trying to flee the country. They wanted to leave the country, both Egyptians and foreigners. So probably they thought that I was just using the education stunt as a reason or as an excuse to flee the country as well. But actually I had applied, and I had all the intentions to come to Italy and study, because all my documentations showed I had the enrollment, and I had paid the fees, I had gotten accommodation and paid for everything. But for some reason they didn't believe all my reasons, and they didn't think that my documentation was valid enough for me to get the Italian visa. Anyways, long story short, I handed in all my documents after lining up for 2 hours. There were like 1,000 people trying to leave Egypt at the time, and everybody was at the consulate, and the consulate was only open for a limited amount of time during the day. I think it was about 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and everybody just had to fit into that slot. There was no priority whether you're applying for a student visa, whether you're applying for, I don't know, immigration or something like that. Everybody was in the same queue, and I lined up. Luckily, I was able to hand in my documents. And I asked them, now what is the next step? So they told me that they would call me for an interview. I waited for the interview. I asked them how long that would be. They told me in a couple of weeks. So I go home, waited for a couple of weeks, a couple more weeks, 2 months. I handed in, by the way, at the end of August of 2013, just to give you the time frame. And by the end of October, I didn't have my visa. Mind you, school in Italy starts in September. It was supposed to start on the 2nd of September. And by the end of October, I'm still stuck in Egypt. I don't have the visa. And when I was handing in every single document, they had my passport. So I couldn't travel anywhere. I was stuck. I was basically stuck. I didn't know what to do. and they were not opening, you know, their offices to the general public, so there was no way I would go there to actually ask. All I had to do was to call, and every time I called, I was told to wait and that they would call me. Anyways, I was so stuck and I didn't know what to do. I wrote to the university, and the university told me that they didn't have any control over the visa process, that I was supposed to handle that with the embassy. I didn't know what to do. I was very stuck and very confused at the time, and desperate and anxious, because I had graduated. I graduated way back in June, and I was doing nothing in the country. I had a casual job, but that is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to come to Italy, do my master's degree, and I was just worried that my family had paid all this amount of money in accommodation and tuition, and I wasn't coming. I had also paid, you know, a lot of money for the translation, declaration of value. The whole process takes money. So I was so worried. I thought, you know, my money had just been wasted, and I didn't know what to do. I was desperate, called the embassy so many times, but there was no help. Tried to walk in, and definitely I was stopped, because you definitely need to have an appointment and a reason to actually go there. So what happens is that when they give you the visa, they send you an SMS which you show at the entrance with the date and the time, and then you are let in. I had absolutely nothing. So every single time that I tried to walk in, I was told to go back and wait until they called me. I ran out of patience. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't leave the country because I had no passport. I was desperate. So one day, after saying my prayer, thanks be to God, I said, Lord, please take the wheel. I don't know what to do. I am going to just walk into the embassy and tell them I'm not leaving unless I speak to the person in charge of visas, because I'm desperate. I do not know what to do. I'm in Egypt. I'm a foreigner. I don't have a passport. That is where the visa was, in case anything happened. What would happen to me? My Egyptian visa was about to expire because I had graduated, so I needed to just leave the country. But how would I leave without my passport? Anyways, I called the university and I told them, and I asked, you know, about the refund policy in case I, you know, pulled out, because it was getting very late. The first semester was about to end. In case I pulled out, would they give me back the money? And then they told me about the refund policy and what percentage they would be giving back to me. I realized I was losing money. Anyways, I walked on this day that I had said my really good prayer. I walked into the embassy and I told them, listen, I need my passport. They're like, why are you withdrawing from the visa process? Nobody has ever done this. And I told them I'm desperate. I don't have a visa. My Egyptian visa is about to expire. I don't want to live here illegally. You're not giving me the visa. You're not giving me a result. You're not giving me a response. I do not know what happened to my visa application. Was it denied? Was it approved? When do I go? My friends have studied. The semester is about to end. What is going on? I need a response. I need to know if it was denied, why, and all these things. So the gentleman looks at me and tells me that he is going to talk to the lady in charge. The lady comes, very gorgeous Italian lady, comes to me and tells me to go in. I go in with her. She was so gorgeous, blonde, blue eyes. She's like, oh, hi Hilda, just to let you know that your visa was denied. I looked at her like, Holy Spirit, guide me on what to say. Anyways, in my mind, I had a thought of asking why. And I asked her, why? Why was my visa denied? Can I know why it was denied? And then she told me, because your accommodation, the certificate that you gave to show your accommodation contract, didn't have a signature. Guys, it had a stamp. I reserved my accommodation through the university and a service called Milan International Living. They gave me a headed paper with the company's name, tax code, and a stamp, but it didn't have a written signature. That is why my visa and passport were sitting there for 2 good months. And I asked her if the university was waiting for me, if she would give me the visa. She said, absolutely, I would give it to you immediately once you provide the signature we need and once you provide proof that the university is waiting for me. I asked her, in how many days would you give me the visa? She said, immediately. When you come here, ask for my name. She gave me her name and signature and business card. So every time that I had to go to the embassy, I had to, provide that, business card that she gave me, signed of course with a phone number, personal phone number. Then I was like, oh yeah, now we're friends. I have a friend at the embassy. Things are going to be very easy. Anyways, long story short, I walk out of the embassy and immediately I ring the school. I didn't write an email because I didn't want to be delayed by a minute. It was a Thursday, and a Friday is usually a holiday in Egypt. It's a weekend in Egypt, so I didn't want to waste any moment. I called the school. The school said, no problem, we're going to write the embassy an email and put you in copy so that you can show it to them. We're going to do it now. And I called the accommodation guys, and they sent me everything signed immediately. Guys, I kid you not, in 2 hours I was back to the embassy with all the proof that they're waiting for me, that I have the signature for the accommodation and all these things. The lady looks at me and she says, wow, you're so determined to leave. And then I told her, I'm not kidding, I need to go and do this master's degree. I applied for it because I want to do it. I would love to do it, and my parents have already paid, so I feel like I am wasting money by being here. And I'm also desperate because my friends have already caught up a lot. My friends have already done a lot, so catching up for me might not be very easy, given that the minute I arrive in Italy, it will be just 2 weeks to end of term exams. Anyway, she says, I want you to wait here and we're going to take your fingerprints. Guys, like, my story changed from your visa was denied, that took 2 months, and then knowing why and having it approved took about 2 hours. I wish they had communicated earlier on what the problem was. I wouldn't have spent that much time there waiting. Anyways, they didn't tell me, and I'm just thinking, what if I didn't come? What if I didn't, think about my visa expiring, my residency visa in Egypt expiring? What would have happened? Would they have kept my passport forever? Anyways, I get my fingerprints done, and she tells me, go and buy your air ticket and bring it here and we will give you the visa. In the meantime, she still had my passport, and at that moment I had about a month for my Egyptian residency visa to expire. I ran quickly to Turkish Airways and I asked them to give me a booking. I was okay to have a booking for about 24 hours before it expired. I took it back to the embassy. That was the following day, and they gave me the visa there and then. They told me to go and take a walk for about an hour, and then when I returned, the visa was ready. Guys, I left that night. I literally left that night on the 11th of November and I came to Italy. I don't even know how to explain this story, but every time I tell it to my friends, they're like, wow, that was so abrupt. I wish I had known I wouldn't have wasted that much time, because I didn't have time to even think about anything. I just had to come because my family had given me the money. I had visa now. My visa in Egypt was about to expire, so I had no reason to even think about anything. Everything was ready. The school was waiting for me. I had accommodation paid. I had money in my bank account. I had the air ticket. I had everything. And then, thanks be to God, I was able to come. So they gave me a visa for 12 months. And the lady was kind enough to explain to me that when I get to the airport, I need to show them my visa, which they asked for. I needed to show them my bank statement with an international card, which is, I think it was a visa then. I had an account with Barclays Bank, and it gave me an international visa. So that was okay. And she, just guided me on, the airport questions in case they asked me if I knew where to go, how to get there. Then she was friendly all of a sudden, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Anyways, that is my visa story. It is a crazy one, I know, but I know you guys have got lots of other interesting visa stories. Let me know in the comment section, how was your visa experience? If you've gotten a visa to go and study in another country that is not your country, how was your experience? Or just general visa experiences. I would like to hear them or know about them in the comment section down below. I hope that this story inspires somebody who thinks that it's going to be hard, it's going to be impossible, somebody who was afraid, just to go ahead and chase their dreams and pursue their dreams. 8.5 years later, I think it's a funny story, or I think they overdid it. I think it's funny, but then I was desperate. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the red subscribe button down below so that you are notified when I post my next videos. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to give this one a like. Bye bye.